All right. Hey, Dan.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Not too bad. How's your weekend?
It's good. It was
Yeah.
good. It was a lot of eventful racing, which is what I love.
Yeah. Well, we had the spa race,
Yep.
and we made some predictions for last week.
Yes, we did. So, spoiler alert if you haven't watched the race yet, right? Dan was spot on.
Well, I wasn't
Well,
spot on.
you were close. That's spot on in my book, is what I'd say.
Yeah, I had Kimmy winning, Max second, and Charles Leclerc third, and then actually it was flipped around
It was
with
swapped.
Leclerc and Max. But I got the top three correct, just not in the right order.
That's right. And no reliability issues for Kimi Antonelli, which was good to see, right?
That was good. It was good to see that the Mercedes was actually performing well. Can't prevent driver error.
Yep, that's true.
George kind of went into the side of Lewis.
Oh, we got a lot to talk about with that one. But to stay on the Kimi, he prevailed through some pressure from Charles Leclerc.
Big time, and at a pivotal time in the race towards the end.
Yeah.
So I mean, if Kimi couldn't have made that gap more than 1 second, he could have very easily lost that race.
Yeah, I mean, on top of the Mercedes being a dominant car, I think that it also involves a lot of just how good you are as a driver. And Kimi is constantly showing that he not only deserves to be in the best car, but he can stand against the rest.
Right, and it kind of proved out, right? Mercedes was a great car, and he squeaked out just a tenth, and got that second on Charles, and then he was gone after that.
I think it shows that when the Mercedes isn't fighting slash pushing behind another car, it's great. In open air, that car it will just sail, right?
Yes.
But for whatever reason, we've seen it multiple times. When the Mercedes is pushing, something breaks. The engine breaks, something. I mean, on the front end of the car, you can't really control that, right? But I mean, I was just impressed that he stayed with Charles the whole time, got past Charles, and just looked absolutely composed the entire race.
Right, and we didn't get to see George and see how the Mercedes would have performed with George in traffic and the reliability. Unfortunately, it was just Kimi out front pretty much the whole time.
Yeah, and George seemed like he was still on the back foot the entire weekend. Like he didn't
Yep.
seem comfortable in that car.
Yeah, that seems to happen though with George. I mean, usually it's on a sprint race weekend, but this time it was a full free practice time frame. He got to get a good feel for the car. Should have gotten a good feel for the car, but it just didn't
Yeah,
work out.
it didn't work out. I feel bad for him because, it almost felt like it's his time, right? Like it's his moment. He gets the good car. He arguably outpaced Lewis Hamilton when he was in Mercedes. And it's like this crescenting moment, right? Of George Russell finally getting the car that's the best car on the field, only to get beat by his 19-year-old teammate.
I was thinking about that right now. If Kimi does win, is he going to be younger than the youngest, or is he close or
I think the youngest world champion
youngest
is
world
what
champion?
I would argue, because Max didn't get to he wasn't the youngest race winner because Max holds that title.
Right.
But
Champion though.
champion, I think he will be the youngest.
All right. Well, let's take a look at that. We'll find out, and we can bring it
Yeah.
up next time.
So
But
that brings us to a great part of this where we want to thank our sponsors for sponsoring the show.
yeah,
So one of them is Formula Coffee Co. It's a coffee company that I started. I absolutely have loved coffee my whole life. And ever since I've fallen in love with Formula One and racing, I was like, let's combine the two. So I started Formula Coffee Company.
and I got to attest, I've had formula coffee. I've tried all 3 of the variants.
Yep.
My favorite by far is the yellow tire, the medium.
The medium roast.
The medium roast.
Yep.
Yeah, it's real smooth. It's good coffee.
Awesome. So yeah, whatever roast you like, whether it's the light roast, the medium roast, or the dark roast, they go by the tire compound. So the soft tires, the light roast, the medium tires, the medium roast, and the hard tires, the dark roast. So yeah, go give it a try. And we're also sponsored by
D&H Toys right here in Shakopee, Minnesota. This is where we film the Conspiracy Corner. This is in a actual corner of the store. So,
and you can come to the store and see where we film and also buy some toys because it's awesome.
Right. Yeah. So what's next? I think what we need to talk about is one of the conspiracies I saw during Spa, and that's with Lewis Hamilton getting a 5-second penalty for getting in a kerfuffle with George.
And this is perfect for the Stewards Conspiracy Corner because that was a steward's decision.
It was a steward's decision.
And not only that, they took extra long to make that decision.
They did. And, when you look at it and you saw the replays over and over again, I don't know where Lewis could have gone. And it just seemed to me like it was a race incident. Let it go and move on.
I definitely thought it was a racing incident. I thought it was a racing incident because it was on lap 1, the first lap of the race. I don't think that they normally give out penalties unless it's pretty blatant. This one, in my opinion, felt like it was completely on George. George dove up the outside of Lewis, and when he turned, he got his tire hit. So I'm a Lewis fan at heart, right? I'm a Ferrari fan. So to see him get a penalty in a track that not only is super long, but it's super hard to kind of pass with that type of time limit or time constraint, right? So oh man, what a conspiracy that is. And it felt like they were just targeting Lewis a little bit.
Right. And with that 5-second penalty, I mean, he was within 5 seconds of Max. He could have very easily been on the podium.
Very easily. I think he would have had a chance to probably pass Charles because he had more pace than Charles, and then his tires kind of wore out, and I think he knew that he was done. And he's even getting investigated after the Grand Prix. I haven't heard the news about what happened after the Grand Prix, but because of an unsafe pit release from when he hit his mechanic.
Oh,
did you see that?
I did see that. So they're investigating that as a post-race possible infringement,
a 5-second penalty. And they were saying during the race that was the reason why Oscar was going to stay within 5 seconds, in the likelihood that Lewis had to drop. Obviously 5 seconds. So
yeah. Oh, that's interesting.
It gave me flashbacks to was it Schumacher or was it Raikkonen that ran over his mechanic's leg.
I remember that. I think, wasn't that, I can't remember exactly.
Was that Kimi?
It might have been Kimi.
I think it was Kimi because, thankfully the mechanic's okay. This wasn't that bad, but that incident specifically was very gruesome, especially for Formula. I mean, we know that standing there next to these cars that are going to rip off the line is dangerous, right?
Yes.
But it's never good to see, a mechanic almost get rolled under the car. I mean,
right. Yeah. Or in general, get injured in any way. And that's why the stewards are putting this in place, right?
Yeah.
Because they want to make sure that the crew are safe and don't have to worry about getting injured during a pit stop.
Yeah. And when I was thinking about it, I was thinking, there's so many moving parts from when that light that Lewis is looking at goes from red to green. There's so many moving parts, and it's all happening usually within 3 seconds, right?
Right, and there's at least 10 people around the car at one point.
That have to be like in good standing around the car before that light goes green. And so, it's not Lewis's fault. It's not. I don't think it's any one person's fault, but Lewis is just looking at that light, and when he sees that go green, he's thinking, my team is off the car, and I'm good to go.
Yeah, he has to trust them to do what they're supposed to do. And yeah,
man, that could have been really bad.
It could have.
That was quite scary.
But also too, I mean, Lewis did stop like immediately.
He did,
and kind of was aware of the situation, and yeah, which was great. It prevented a major injury.
Really, it really did. And I think the difference from this one, obviously, than what happened to Kimmy was that Kimmy's was on the back wheel. So you can't really, unless he's looking in his mirrors, you can't see it. But at least Lewis could see kind of probably in his peripherals to his right. He could stop real quick, be like, "Hey, is he okay?"
Right.
And then go.
Yep.
That's also one of the reasons why I think not only did the 5-second penalty hurt him, that hurt him a little bit too, because he couldn't just rip off the line. He stopped, was like, "Is everything okay?" And then kept going.
Right. But I mean, in that instance, I would be much more relieved for him to take that extra half second to make sure his teammate was okay, rather than just burn off the line.
Absolutely, because that's the most important thing, right?
Right.
Everyone's safe. Everyone's, no one's getting hurt. Because
Yes.
you don't want anyone to get hurt, right?
Right.
We're all there to love watching the sport, enjoying the fast racing. We know that these drivers and the teams put their lives on the line, but we don't want to see anybody get hurt.
Exactly.
Right. So we have some other things to talk about for the Belgium Grand Prix. In, what was it, lap 3 or 4, Max passed in Eau Rouge.
I know. Not slow either.
Not slow. They were full out.
They were flying through the corner, and he overtook Lando, right?
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
it was either Lando or Leclerc.
Right.
One or the two.
And I just was flabbergasted that anybody would pass in that location.
Balls of steel. That's all I'm going to say. No. But, I mean, one of the things that I found just mind-blowing was the camera angle they used. They used that angle where, obviously, they have Eau Rouge lit up with cameras, right? All the different angles, the overhead camera, the one on the ground. But they had the one on the ground where you get that really cool view of it. And when you saw him pass, and from whatever way, that view, it just makes like those cars are going at light speed. There's whoom, and you saw him just barely get in front. Because, I mean, if you touch in Eau Rouge, talk about a bad incident. Someone's probably getting really hurt.
Yeah, you're going into the wall, that's for sure.
Yeah, oh my gosh. But, I mean, for both of us, Spa is one of our favorite races of the calendar. Not only because it's such an iconic track, but that corner is just so iconic and so special. It embodies racing so well, right?
Right. A high speed, quick turn onto a large straight. That's, you gotta position yourself just right to get off of that corner and get on the straight and hopefully pass.
And it puts those cars using their full ability of engineering, the aerodynamics, the downforce. Yeah.
Most definitely. That is key around that corner, is that downforce.
Oh, I just love that corner. I don't know. It's something about it. It's like, it's almost like, when you're a little kid and you like get excited. That's what it feels like when they're about to race, especially qualifying, because, they're flat out in qualifying. They don't have to worry about anything else. Going down that corner, Eau Rouge corner, is just, I'm just locked in.
Yeah, there's that section. I love Eau Rouge. But then when you're there on the backside and coming down the hill, that stretch is another iconic stretch where they're taking those sweeping fast corners going down the hill. Yeah,
and just the wooded area. You can't really, the people are in the hills, so you can't really see a whole lot of the people.
Yeah, it's a great visual when they're going down that way.
I love Spa, and every year I look forward to it because not only that, there's the chance of rain. There's always a chance of rain because it has this own microclimate happening there.
And it did sprinkle a little bit, but it didn't affect anybody.
But in IndyCar, if it sprinkles that much, they stop the race. There's no running. We're waiting until it's all over. But no, it was cool, and it's nice to see that no one had to really switch up any strategies. I think, obviously that would have thrown a wrench in a lot of things. But again, that Mercedes is just, it's too fast. It's too fast. I think even on intermediate tires, I don't think you were catching Kimi today.
Maybe not, but Red Bull is catching up.
Yep.
Ferrari is catching up. You got the Racing Bulls that are catching up. Surprisingly, they did fantastic.
Oh my gosh.
So it was just incredible. I could not believe how well Racing Bulls and Alpine both did this weekend.
Alpine's on a comeback. I mean, we were talking about that last week, right? It's good to see that it's not a fluke thing, right? It's not a fluke one race because the track conditions fit the car. No, this is real. I think this is real that they're on the come up, just like how Williams was on the come up, 3 years ago?
Yep.
And they were doing great regulation change, and they're just, a rock. Right. Also wanted to show my prop here. I brought my Visa Cash App Racing Bulls hoodie.
Is that the one you got in Vegas?
This is the one I got in Vegas, and I wanted to bring it in honor of how good Racing Bulls were doing. So, shout out to Liam and Arvid Lindblad.
Yes.
I mean, they're both killing the game right now.
They are.
And I was thinking, I was like, how am I gonna? I was like thinking about how I wanted to approach the topic of the Racing Bulls, and I was thinking, they're like your little brothers, who then grow up and start beating you up. You know what I mean? Because they guess whatever reason they got stronger and better. Like, that's how it feels like for the rest of the midfield for the Racing Bulls.
Right, but here's one thing that is going to get me. So when Racing Bulls does get to a point, when are they going to start to challenge Red Bull and then become, not the B team anymore?
I mean, I think you need a lot of money to do that. I think that's a big aspect of it. But I think, technicality wise, for the last couple years, they've been saying, well, Max should just switch over to the Racing Bulls because the Racing Bulls have a better car than the parent team. I mean, that would be exciting.
That would be very interesting, wouldn't it?
Instead of the Oscar switch.
Right. Instead of the Oscar switch, have them go to Racing Bulls.
Oh, my gosh.
And then put up a podium in that. That would be amazing.
Oh, my gosh. Talk about a conspiracy, right?
No kidding.
Max is actually going to Racing Bulls.
Who would they put up? Would they just swap teams in general?
Well, they would have to do I keep messing up his name.
Arvid Lindblad?
Arvid. Because Liam's already been in the Red Bull seat.
Yeah, and they
don't want to put him back.
They put him back down.
Even though I think, like I said, they should have kept him in that seat the whole year.
Yeah.
You can't show what you're in a new car. You can't show what you're worth in 2 races. That's like throwing Lewis Hamilton. Okay, you want a crazy take. This is a crazy take, Dan. That's like throwing Lewis Hamilton in that Ferrari, giving him 2 races and being like, you're done.
Well, right. But then, at that time, he had Horner all over him saying, you either produce or go home.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate that they would do that. I mean, part of it is, I get it, right? You're trying. It's a money game. They want to get as many points so they can be the constructor champion to win all the money.
Absolutely. I mean, that's every team's goal. And, if you want to get those points, you have to support Max. If Max is in 3rd place, 2nd place, 1st place regularly, and then your second teammate's in 15th, it's kind of hard to get those points to get that Constructors' Cup.
It is. And I think that's the difference of looking at it from a business perspective and from like a fan perspective, right? Like, we as fans are like, what the heck? Why would they only give them 2 races, right? But when you think of a business perspective, you're like, okay, I need to put someone in there that is not going to be in the bottom 10 every race.
Right, someone that can get points week after week.
Consistently.
And
not necessarily even having to be right next to Max, but, in the top 5, fighting for podiums. That's what, they're looking for right off the jump. And
I don't know if they're so much looking for that as much as they're looking for just get me points.
Yeah.
Because
anything.
Because Hadger had some good streaks where he was fighting for a podium, but I mean, he's still got his seat because he's still consistently gaining points for the team.
Oh yeah, and I mean, I think So another hot take. I think Hadjar's better than Liam right off the cuff. I think Hadjar has the right kind of spunk to him to be in the Red Bull. Like
Right.
it's like an aggressive yet controlled. Whereas I feel like Liam would get frustrated and then kind of take it out on the, like, you drive angry, and you don't want to drive angry.
Take
right?
too many risks.
And that's the thing that I just didn't quite understand with Liam, right? Like, he needed to drive more like aggressive but controlled, because he stirred the pot with some people. Like, Sergio didn't like him for a long time when he was in the Racing Bulls because they got in a scuff. I mean, he's gotten in scuffs with multiple people on the track, and people get angry. I get it, right? But
Liam?
yeah, Liam has.
Really?
Yeah, multiple times. I mean, one was with Sergio when Sergio was in the Red Bull seat and he was in the Racing Bulls, and they would scuff. That's when Sergio wasn't doing as well as was in the backfield with the Racing Bulls,
And he was pushing too hard too.
and he was. So
Yeah.
then there's that whole story, right? And so glad to see Sergio back on the grid in a better, like, healthier,
relaxed driving.
Yes. And the
yes.
team where they know they're not going to be anywhere, but they're slowly building up to be a better team, right? But at least he can be part of that development. He doesn't have to feel like, man, race in, race out, the person that I have to match is Max. If I don't match Max, my seat's gone. I mean, he came out, what was it, this last weekend, and was talking about how difficult it was to be in the Red Bull
Right,
team.
I saw that article, and on they had a picture of him where he just looked defeated when he was sitting next to Max.
Yeah, I felt so bad for him because I mean, we all want to see Sergio on the Formula One grid.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, he does amazing things for the sport. He does amazing things for the country of Mexico, right? Because they go race in Mexico, and they're just all about Sergio Perez,
Yes.
obviously.
Yep.
And that's amazing to see. And when you don't have that, it's kind of like, man, you go to Mexico, and I get everyone wants to watch Formula One, but then there's that hometown hero that you can root for.
Right, and even though I am a Haas fan and I have all my Haas drivers are my number one drivers. Sergio Perez is still my next favorite driver after that.
Yeah.
And I'll follow him wherever he goes.
Yep.
Yeah, because he's just, he's a genuine good guy and a good driver.
I would love to see him, I hope he stays in Formula One forever, right? But whatever he does next, because I kind of feel like when he left Red Bull, he wasn't looking for a current seat on the grid.
He wasn't. From what I understand, he was burnt out.
Right.
He just needed a break.
Needed a break.
And he got that break for a couple of years and then went to Cadillac.
Yeah.
And he's more refreshed now and he's ready to go, which is great.
Oh, it's great. It's great to see that. And I would love to see a Sergio Perez on the IndyCar grid.
That would be interesting.
That would be interesting. See how he does in ovals.
Yeah.
Or take on a series like Le Mans or, World Endurance Championship. I feel like those series can feel like lessers compared to Formula One.
Right, you say that, but then why does Max want to move over to drive?
Well,
those?
exactly. And I think that's to what you're saying, to your point. It's like they're not lesser.
They're not.
Just because they don't have as much money behind them and as much advertisement and all the big deals like Apple TV and whatever,
right.
It doesn't mean that some of that racing's even more exciting than Formula One racing. Like the competition is way closer because there's different regulations, whatever. So you don't get paid as much, granted, but it's still just as valuable. You could be just as good of a racer if you're driving in another series.
So with that, you bring up a topic that I wanted to talk about.
Right.
Now, I watched during Spa, they had the Formula 2 race. So
Yep.
I was watching Formula 2. I was watching Colton. I wanted to see how Colton was
Yep.
doing. And it was an interesting race. It was marred by an accident, and it was timed out. It was a timed race instead of a lap race.
Mm-hmm.
But Colton was midfield. It wasn't up there, wasn't top ranked. So he's still working. He's still working to get his license to move up to Formula One. Now, Pato O'Ward just came out and said, "I don't want to do Formula One anymore. I want to out. I want to concentrate on Indy." And just this weekend, McLaren said, "Okay." So now me and you've talked. You've had an idea. What do you think's going on? What do you think is happening with these drivers at Indy that don't want to try and put themselves up for Formula One anymore?
So I genuinely think that IndyCar, now that they moved to Fox and kind of have the national, I mean, they were on, what was it, ABC before? It was a different CBS maybe. And now that they've moved to Fox, national broadcaster, they're getting this huge advertisement. Fox is doing a great job with them. I think that Fox has pitched to the IndyCar drivers, we want you to stay here because we want to make this as big as what Formula One is.
Now, Formula One has 24 races, and they have expanded their race. And to a point, they're pushing their drivers too far.
Yep.
Do you think that IndyCar can put up that many races and be able to have a season as long and as grueling as what Formula One is?
I think IndyCar shouldn't have 24 races in a season, partly because 24 races is, well, difficult on the body.
Yep.
When you have back-to-back 3 times, sometimes a triple header, back-to-back-to-back, you're just dead at the end. And I think something that showed really valuable this year, unfortunately, was the war in Iran, right? That canceled the Saudi Arabia and Bahrain Grand Prix. Yep. But you saw this like mini kind of summer break for the drivers, and they came back seeming so refreshed. And not only that, they had time to develop the car, during those 2 breaks as well. But then you just saw the drivers now in this longer season, they don't seem as tired. They don't seem as kind of like, oh, it's the next race, right? Like,
they didn't really have too many back-to-back so far. So, we got Spa now.
That's true.
And then Hungary next weekend, or this coming weekend.
Yep.
So you got those 2 races, and then you got summer break.
Right.
And then you got, August is the next race after that.
Yes.
Late August.
So that's also interesting, is coming into the summer break. We will see a interesting change up.
Very potentially.
Well, let's hold on that topic for a minute here. Let's continue on IndyCar for right now.
Right.
I think that they've been pitched, we want you to be a star in IndyCar. You're already a star. We want you to be a bigger star. We want you to be kind of the face of this organization. And I think that they pitched that to Alex Palou, because he's also said that he's not vying for a Formula One seat anymore. And they've pitched that to Pato. They're like, we want you to stay in IndyCar because we believe that you not only have the stardom, you have the quality of driving. People love you. You have a whole fan base behind you. We want you to stay in IndyCar. And I think he's realized that. He says, all right, I'm not focusing my attention anywhere else, because I'm pretty sure Pato was supposed to be driving in Hungary at a FP1 for Formula One for the McLaren team.
Correct.
And he's like, I'm not doing more. They canceled it. They canceled his drive. And he's like, I'm just going to focus on IndyCar. And I kind of love that. I mean, it would be so cool to see Pato in a Formula One car on the grid. But, man, he is just killing it in IndyCar. I get that there's seasons, your season can not be as what you kind of anticipated it to be. But the competition's great in IndyCar. They want to keep their drivers. They don't want these star drivers to go to Formula One. They want them to stay here.
Right. And that brings up to Colton. That's why I bring up Colton, because Colton kind of left his IndyCar team to go and focus on Formula One. Now, do you think that I've heard rumor that Cadillac is actually looking at another driver and not Colton to come up in the ranks and potentially replace either either Sergio or Valtteri.
Well, do you think Colton would go back to IndyCar?
That's what I'm asking. And if he did go back, where would he go? I mean, he was a great Formula or IndyCar driver.
Great IndyCar driver.
You know, he was up there. He's top 10 finishes pretty regularly.
Yep.
He'd get a win every now and then.
He was seen as one of those, in my opinion, one of those faces that I feel like Fox would pitch to, right?
Yep.
Like, we want you to be kind of the face of IndyCar.
Well, there's a lot of people that are in IndyCar that could be that face.
For sure.
You know, you got Pato, you got Ericsson,
Newgarden.
You can bring up the legend himself, Will Power.
Yeah.
If he sticks around.
I mean, they're all great, right? Like,
yes.
They all have, and I think that's what I'm saying is, like, they've pitched that to them. And I get that some of them are older drivers. They're not going to be able to maybe move to a Formula 1. Like, it wouldn't make sense to move to a Formula 1 seat, right? But I feel like these young drivers are the ones that they want to retain. Because I feel like the Will Power. Yeah, right? Like the Will Powers of the world, the Scott Dixons of the world, like they're not going anywhere. They want to stay in it. They like IndyCar. They love that they can travel around with the team. They love the 500. Like that's the gemstone of racing for them, right? And why would you want to leave? I mean, you got a good situation going, especially if you're getting recruited by McLaren.
Right.
So, I mean, it's good to see, right? It's good to see that these drivers are like, we're focusing on IndyCar. We're not going anywhere. We don't see this as a feeder series. It's not. Right.
Well, right. And that's where I think you might be getting to a point where IndyCar is, you know, seeing the success that Formula One is having, the amount of money that's pouring into Formula One and the fan base that's growing within the United States.
Yeah.
And IndyCar is mainly a U.S. I mean, they don't race anywhere other than the U.S. So that's some of the key fan base that's being pulled away from them. So they got to compete with Formula One now that is worldwide to get their American fan base back.
But the cool thing about IndyCar is that if you like both racing series, you can follow IndyCar and you go to more races. I mean, we don't have the option living in America beyond, you know, Austin, Miami, and Las Vegas, which now Formula One races are just becoming really expensive across the board.
Right.
You can go to, you know, get a general admission ticket to, you know, Road America or any of these other series here in for IndyCar for $50, $30, right? And you can go see great racing that is that you love the drivers. Also, you have way more accessibility to the drivers, which I thought was really cool. Like they do driver signings, like public ones, right? Like you could just like walk up to a table and have your hoodie or your shirt signed, and it's the kids love it, the adults love it. Because they get to see their favorite driver. Whereas Formula One, it's like they're running, you know, they're signing stuff, but they're running between their suite to the paddock, and you know, that's the only chance you really get to see them.
Right. Now they are catering on Formula One side to a more affluent fan base. So you're going to have bigger sponsors, bigger money coming in, and that's who the drivers are spending most of their time with.
Mm-hmm.
To your point, on IndyCar, it's not like that quite yet. So, you know, the general fan base has more accessibility to the stars, to the drivers.
Even more reason to get in now.
Right. So here's where I'm coming from with the amount of races in the season is the more time that you have to do that, where you're in front of the fans, giving them something to cheer for, something to root for, the more you'll win them over and get them to be, you know, solid, just long-term fans. So that's why I'm saying, I mean, I understand, and I watch IndyCar. Sometimes it's like, is a race this week? Is it not this week?
Right.
And it's not very well communicated on networks or internet or wherever else. You have to
Right.
sometimes you have to dig for it to find out, what the schedule is. Now, die-hard IndyCar fans will no kidding know when every race is,
Right.
when
Yes.
it is, and everything else. Um, I'm a die-hard Formula One
Yep.
and more of a casual IndyCar.
Yep.
And I think if IndyCar wants to just grab those casual fans, being able to get in front of them and have it more known when the races are, how many races there will be, will help that out.
You nailed it on the head. I totally agree. Their access to when things are is way harder to find. And I don't, they're not hating on the IndyCar app, right? But when you go in there, it's not like immediately there's a race this weekend. It's kind of hard to, like you said, kind of hard to find. And one of the things I find really fascinating, especially about the schedule and the timing of things, is like, we know that Formula One, well, since it's gone to Apple TV, right? I see ads every time I turn on my TV.
Yep.
And it's like it's a great ad too, where the cars fly by and then it shows the words, and it's exactly the Belgian Grand Prix on, November or whatever, at this time. And then it's done, and then you move on to your show. Fox needs to do the same thing with their commercials, like something that shows this time, this date, and where it's gonna be. Like, it's simple, and they need to advertise that. I think they're a little bit conflicted. I think Fox has other priorities, right? They have to manage different schedules within their network. They have to manage, the World Cup. The World Cup was a big one. Yep. Congratulations to Spain, by the way, winners of the World Cup. Awesome job. Wow, what an ending, beating Messi, insane. But like I said, so they have to manage all these things, and I don't know if IndyCar is their number one priority, whereas Apple, and having like Formula One TV, no longer it being on ESPN, because I think it was the same way on ESPN. If you weren't a diehard fan and you didn't have the Formula One app and you weren't checking when the races were, finding it on ESPN was actually pretty difficult.
It was.
It wasn't the easiest thing, and because I feel like they have all these other things they got to manage, all these other big sporting event schedules. Where the beautiful thing about going to Apple TV, well, that Apple TV you have to subscribe to it. It has shows. It took on some MLB showings. It took on some MLS, the soccer showings. And then now it adds Formula One, and it can pour the money into it to where, all right, we're going to tell people when Formula One is because they can watch it on our app.
And well, there's that, plus the fact that Apple paid how many?
Oh, my gosh.
Millions and billions of dollars.
It was so
for
much
this?
money
Right?
for those rights.
And so they're trying to get their money out of it.
They are. And it's a money game.
It's a money game.
That's what it's always been, a money game.
but it is kind of nice. You go to Apple TV and they got the race.
Yeah.
Right there. I mean, I don't have to go very far before I can see qualifying, a little app for qualifying, a little app for practice, a little app for the race.
Mm-hmm.
And it will tell me, which race is coming up next, and I can go in there and I can actually go down a couple of different races and record and set record for races coming up. So what Apple TV did was, pretty good, and it's helped out the fan quite a bit.
It has, and I like the move. I like the move to Apple TV. A lot of people said that it's kind of like a sellout move. I don't think so. I think it's a great move. And then another thing I want to add about the IndyCar is showing the different qualifying formats, because I feel like in Formula One you get used to the same qualifying format, right? You got beyond a sprint race, there's 3 practices, a shootout qualifying where it's if you're not the best time out of in the 15 minutes, you're dropped, right? Mm-hmm. And that's how it ranks. Well, IndyCar, they do so many different qualifyings. They do the shootout, They also do top speed, and I think if you're just a big fan, you're going to dive into that, right? You're going to be like, oh, what are they? How do you figure it out? But if you're just your casual viewer, somebody who's just going to turn on racing and a little bit about it and you want to watch, you're not gonna stay locked in if you're like, oh, I don't understand why he's in first, right? Like, is he? I don't know. Is he the top speed? Is he the quickest around the lap? Like, what is it, right?
Right. Now, you got to be kind of cautious with that because in some instances, like with the Indy race in the Indy 500, I feel that they do too much qualifying, and it takes too long to get through to who's the top driver. Yeah, because you go
like the top 12 or the fast 6.
Right.
Yeah,
because you go through the whole lineup.
Yep.
And then you're like, okay, it's done, right? No, then you got to go to the fast 12 or the top 12.
Yep.
And then you're like, it's done, right? So now they got to do it. No, and then you go to the fast 6.
Right.
And then hopefully
and then it's done.
It's done. So
too much time.
Right. So, I was watching it and I thought the top 12 after top 12 was done. It was it. And
nope.
They went to the top 6. I turned it off.
Oh no.
I thought that was it. So, yeah.
It's like getting to the best part of the burger bite, Dan, and switching it off or then throwing it away.
I didn't know. So, like I said, I'm a casual Indy fan.
Right.
I didn't know the format. I didn't know how it went. I thought it was similar to some of the other races where, the top 12 go and they do a shootout and whoever gets top time is it. Yeah,
especially during the Indy 500. That's where it's even more spread out, right? Because it's the weekend before the race is when they do the qualifying. Yeah. And then before that's the Cisneros Grand Prix and all the practices during the day. So it's this long, drawn-out process, which I get it, right? That's tradition. They're never going to change that. That's something where if you're watching IndyCar and you watch the 500, you're just going to have to learn, right? like they're not going to change it because it makes it easier for the viewer to watch.
No, they're not. Just advertise to me when you're at the top 6 and then
right.
I'll watch.
Like, don't go anywhere. We're going into the top 6. They're still the top 6. No. But for all its other races, I think that they could very easily, whether it's keep a standard format, because I know that they do other ovals too, right? And I would need to look into whether those are the time or the top speed, because some of them I think are the timed and some of them are top speed. So it's just this like back and forth, right? Like how does it qualify? What's the best format to go off of. I don't know. I don't know what the right answer is. I'm just saying that IndyCar could do a better job of explaining these things to their viewers, whether that's in, when you click on the app and you click on the race, at the bottom it says, top speed qualifying or timed qualifying, whatever it may be. Something just a little indicator to be like, oh, yeah. Okay, I know what we're doing today.
And they do, in certain races they do. I mean, when I watched the St. Petersburg race, They went through and they talked about, this is what happens during qualifying, and they kind of explained it at the beginning.
Yeah.
But if you catch it after that point, it's hard to catch.
Yeah.
Man. But, so we went through IndyCar.
Yep, we have.
Anything else IndyCar that you think might be a related topic between Indy and Formula One and what they're doing?
They need to have Mexico and Canadian races.
I was going to just bring that up. And that's where I think they could really expand their fan base too, because they are just locked into the United States. There are tracks that could be used in Mexico and Canada and expanded a little bit, because you got some drivers like Pato.
Yeah.
Pato would be huge in Mexico.
Oh my gosh, huge.
So, and there are fans, Formula One, the Mexican Grand Prix sells out. I mean, they got a fan base that's insane.
And that one grandstand.
Oh, I love that grandstand.
It's amazing, but it's huge.
Yes.
It's massive. Oh, and imagine doing it at that track too, right?
Right.
It was some of the Indy cars.
Would they be able to, or is it locked in for Formula?
Right, that's the question.
Yeah.
Who, do they have any clauses in those contracts that they can't? Usually, I think they can do other racing formats there, but like you said, it's all part of the build-up for Formula One, in the sense of we're doing this in Mexico. We're the only ones who do it there, and we can hype that up so people travel there. I mean, that's the majority, right?
Right.
People are traveling and.
Well, the Coda is used by other
Right.
formats other than Formula One, but I don't think it's a Formula One owned circuit.
Right. So it's all about how the promoter wants to, formulate the contract.
Yeah.
And then if they sign that contract, then it's like, yeah, we can't race anywhere. Like Las Vegas, for example. No one's gonna have the money to shut down the strip, right? Like IndyCar could never do that. Like,
right. Well,
no one would be there.
And then beyond that, the paddock infrastructure was paid for by Formula One.
Right, and they're the promoter.
So they're not going to let anybody else use that.
It brings in a lot of money each year. That Las Vegas Grand Prix, first off, is not only is it one of the most expensive races.
It's the expensive.
Yeah,
most expensive.
Which is insane because Monaco's on the calendar, and that's usually a really expensive race as well. But yeah, I think that IndyCar needs to move to beyond just the United States. Do some races in Canada. Do some races in Mexico. I think that would be awesome.
Yeah, I think it would really help out their fan base.
I don't see them booming in growth unless they do that.
Yes, totally agree.
Yeah.
All right. So now I'm going to flip gears on you.
Do it. Flip them.
We're coming up to Hungarian Grand Prix.
Mm-hmm.
It's a small track.
Yep.
Hard to pass. So pretty much, if you're going to get pole, you're going to win.
Yep.
Not guaranteed, but
nope.
Very
unless you
very
mess
high
with the
probability.
pits.
Yeah, very high probability. And since it's more of a smaller, it's got a lot of curves into it. This is set up for potentially Red Bull and Ferrari to win,
because they have that really small short straight right at the start finish line.
Yep.
And then it's windy like the whole time.
Yep.
I've had the privilege of being at the Hungarian Grand Prix, which was really, really fun. It was a mixture of rain. That was the year where Max spun out, was 13 seconds behind, was P13 on the grid and won the race.
Oh, interesting.
But George got pole that year, which I was ecstatic about because Max was just on a ripper that year. He was like getting pole and winning every race. So I thought, oh man, George has a chance to win this race. No, Max came through the whole field. But I agree with you, Dan. Yeah, I think Red Bull's going to have a great shot here, especially if they can keep their development going. I think Ferrari, they like their slow corners. Some high-speed corners, too, in this one. Turn 11's pretty high-speed. And then Aston Martin.
Yes, I've heard.
Bringing pretty much a brand new car to Hungary.
Overhaul.
What do you think that's going to be like, Dan?
Well, if it's anything like a total overhaul that Aston Martin has done in the past, there's going to be some, growing pains with that. They're going to have to do some tweaks. They're going to have to, maybe roll back something to an earlier design because it's not working as well as they expected.
Mm-hmm.
But anything could be better than what they currently have.
I mean, it's just hard to watch right now.
Right.
I mean, you're seeing Alonso get passed in Spa, which, granted, is not hard. I mean, but, it's such a long track that to get past is, you got to be pretty slow. But regardless of the fact, I think that you're exactly right. I think they're going to come out. It's not going to be the greatest package ever. I mean, granted, it is Adrian Newey, so maybe he's come up with something that is just stellar. But at this point, they've had time to look at the other cars to see what's working, like what's working on the Mercedes, right? What's working on the Ferrari. And they can kind of implement that with Adrian's creativity. I'm just concerned that, if this doesn't work for Aston, where do they go from here?
Well, there's only up.
Yeah.
So You know,
or burning. I mean, I don't know, right?
well, so take it take it for what it is. Try to design for the next season, and come out with a better car in the next season. I mean, uh, Lance had to retire at
Yeah,
Spa.
yeah,
And it's still not a great car. So
no,
if they can come out with anything that just keeps both drivers out for the whole race, that's a win.
we're even fighting for a point.
Well, fighting for a point would be, I think too far at this point. But
All you can do is up.
yeah, all is it. But if they could come back and bring in changes that could get them close to fighting for points, that would be a total turnaround
Yeah.
from where they are right now.
Yes. That's another team that they had such good progress a couple years ago. Alonso was fighting for podiums,
Right. And then they brought in changes.
and they brought in a lot of changes.
And then then he wasn't fighting for podiums. They had to reverse out a lot of those changes they did to get him fighting back for points again.
Yeah.
So they got to kind of watch that.
They do, and at this point, how much do you try to like tame back Adrian Newey, right? Like, are you trying to say, hey, Adrian, we just need what works. We don't need anything crazy, right? Does anybody ever say that to Adrian? Probably not. What I'm just saying, though, is if I was Lawrence Stroll, I'm like, can we just dial it back, put something together that just works, right? That gives us a chance? Because right now, this concept, it's not giving us any chance. It doesn't help that, everything else is falling apart too, right? Like the Honda engine's not doing very well. You name it. The car is overweight, whatever, beyond the aerodynamics. And, the aerodynamics don't play as big of a role this year. But still, at some point, you got to be like, can we make the car inside the weight?
Doesn't vibrate to hell.
Doesn't vibrate. Can it just be a proven concept with some of these other cars, like what the Ferrari's doing, what the Mercedes is doing, what even the McLaren's doing? The McLaren, beyond the engine, they had a quick car. I mean, Lando was up there for pole almost.
So was Oscar.
And Oscar.
Well, Oscar was doing really well during the race. He was up there.
He was flying.
Yeah.
So that's working. Can we do that? And I think that's where it's either going to be a yes or no from me. If they come out and that thing looks just totally different than any other car on the grid, I'm going to say, unless you've unlocked what everyone else has missed, it's not going to be a great car.
All right. So, after Hungary, summer break. There's a big to-do that's going to happen summer break.
What's that?
The clause in Max's contract
Yeah, we got to
is
talk
going
about
to
this
be
again.
coming up. And, you heard it. I heard it.
Uh-huh.
There's been rumblings where he's going to be moving. And he got asked about it. And he basically said, no comment.
Uh-huh.
And then he got asked, well, you going to stick with Red Bull? And he said, no comment.
No comment. Oh, my God.
Basically came out and was non-committal on moving or staying.
That was, I'm pretty sure I texted you when I first saw that.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is so new for Max. Max has always said he's committed to Red Bull. He's always talked about, like, my focus is on driving the Red Bull car. And when he didn't say that this time, I was like, we got to talk about this on the podcast. And beyond that, we're like not wanting to bring up the Max contract again until something happens, right? But that was new, and I was like, we got to talk about it again because Max, love him or hate him, is going to shift the entire Formula One paddock wherever he goes.
Right, but if they're just going to do for a one-for-one swap, crazy season's going to be coming up here.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And if it's only going to be a one-for-one where they're going to swap Oscar for Max or George for Max, who knows,
Yeah, right.
Because Mercedes is back in the mix again.
Yes, they are. That's what I was hearing is that, taking George's spot is more of a desired move, I think, on McLaren's end too, because then they don't have to be put in a weird spot, with Oscar Orlando, right? Everyone's saying it's Oscar because he got jibbed, whatever. But I just see that, George, you didn't live up to the love you, George. You didn't live up to the hype of the car.
Can you see George in a Red Bull though?
No, that's the thing.
That would be crazy.
So like, where does he go?
Well, if they're going to do a swap,
I don't think he's gonna go to Red Bull. Why would you want to go to Red Bull?
Where would he go?
Williams.
Well, you thinking Science might go to Red Bull?
I think Sainz takes another crack at Red Bull.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, because he was in the junior team, right? Or
right,
the Racing
right.
Bulls,
but he wanted a long-year contract. Williams gave him a long-year contract or a multi-year contract.
That car is garbage.
I know, but I mean, he got what he wanted. He got a long-term contract.
He did.
And then I don't know if he's got any out clauses, so he might be stuck there for a little while longer.
He might be stuck. I know that the world of Formula One contracts are always very they can add in stuff or take out stuff, but I mean that would be a big shakeup if Sainz went to Red Bull, be back in a top team, be kind of the face of that team with Hadjar, build it up. I just know that Red Bull is so inward looking with their talent pool. They just want to promote people who they've found, they've picked up, they've added to the junior program. They drive, usually they drive the Racing Bulls. But at this point, part of me would be like, if I have a good thing going in the Racing Bulls, the Visa Cash App Racing Bulls, why would I leave?
Right. Why would you want to put that pressure on those drivers that are doing so well?
Yeah.
And put them up onto the Red Bull team.
Keep a solid lineup for, the next couple years.
Yeah.
And don't get complacent. Like, I feel like when, Yuki was in the Racing Bulls and Pierre, it kind of maybe felt a little bit complacent, right? Like there was the only option was to go into the Red Bull team, the main team. But now it's feeling like, hey, we're gaining our own personality. We're gaining our own feeling.
Yep.
We're developing the car in our own way. Our drivers are really doing a really good job. We're pushing the limit. Let's keep doing this. Let's keep this momentum going. Keep the drivers as people who want to stay at Racing Bulls. Not their goal is to move on to somewhere else. And then maybe in the future, Racing Bulls would be somewhere where people are desired to go to, kind of like how Sainz went to Williams.
Well, he went to Williams because everybody else kind of closed the door
on him.
But that's kind of unfortunate too. I mean, he was holding out for a certain team with a certain contract, and it never panned out. And I'm kind of glad that Williams picked him up.
Me too.
And gave him a shot. So I know that this Max thing is going to be kind of ongoing theme for like the next couple of podcasts, just because
we got to keep the update going. You got to get our takes on it.
Yeah, because summer break's going to happen right after Hungarian, and then we'll know one way or another, and then we got to start with the crazy season. We'll get a whiteboard.
Oh yeah. Put the
doing,
whiteboard right here. That's what we'll talk about.
start doing our predictions on where we think drivers are going to be heading.
Yep.
Because it's going to be nuts.
And it's always so fun, right? Seeing where drivers go if they get dropped, whatever. I'm just glad, kind of the final thought with that one. Glad that Alpine's in a good spot now.
Right. Yeah, and they got two good drivers, which I don't think they're going to change out. So
no, why would you want to change them out? They're doing great.
Right. So that leaves us now. I mean, we're getting close to the end here, and hungaroring is going to be needing a prediction.
It is.
Now, I was thinking, let's see what you think.
All right, Dan.
Now, we're making these predictions. Should we have a competition to see who does the best?
Yeah, and we have a running tally.
A running tally?
Let's do it.
All right. So, last week won't count.
Why not? You nailed it last week.
Okay.
Come on, you got to count it.
All right.
That was I get you got two swap, but that was spot on.
All right. So
we'll keep it.
Okay.
Dan won.
You want to go first? You want me to go first?
You go first. I went first last time.
Okay, I'll go first. So like I was saying, with the hungaroring, it's a short course. It's tight. It's got the very short straightaway. It's made for cars that are quick around corners, which are Red Bull and McLaren and and Ferrari. I'm thinking this is probably the race where Lando might actually finally get a win.
Whoa, that's bold.
Right. And then I'm thinking after that, you're going to get Lewis. And then, surprisingly, Oscar. So it's going to be a Lando, Lewis, Oscar.
A McLaren, both on the podium.
I'm thinking the McLaren will actually come alive during this race.
All right. Okay. I'm going to switch it up. I'm going to say a Lewis Hamilton P1. I think Lewis, this is going to be the make or break for the World Championship. He has to start beating Kimi at this point. If Kimi keeps winning, it just the time goes low. I think George is out of the running, really, realistically, unless Kimi has more issues and George does really well. But I just don't see George coming back now. Okay, Lewis, Max, P2. I'm gonna say Kimi P3.
Oh,
I think Kimi's gonna do well around the hungaroring, but I think the experience of Max and Lewis, and they're gonna be dueling it out up in the front. But I think Lewis is gonna get pole right off the rip, hold it, and win the race.
All right. Well, there you go. You heard our predictions.
That's the predictions.
Make your predictions if you think that you can come up with better than us.
Yep.
Shoot
the comments.
Shoot us a comment. All right.
Awesome.
What do you think?
I think that's week 2 wrapped.
Week 2 wrapped.
All right.
Sounds good.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.